Okay, so recording it. Pin. So you should have got the email by now. Now, just to show you, so make sure you join it there, folks. I sent an invite to you all. Now, just to show you again, videos are in the folder as always, and they're also in the following location. So this is a Word document. You can view it directly in Google Drive. Click in each one of the links, brings you to the links will work directly from the Google Drive, so I just have it open up here in Word. So control click, it'll bring you to yesterday's. Okay, so you see in iterators, you have iterators folder for sets in YouTube. Okay. Now I'm going to start doing after a while. A list iterator videos, let's say does not work second chapter, for sets. I want to delete them from the folders. What you use for a set is an iterator. I'm going to do that. An iterator does not have previous, has previous, but they're still going to be there. Just going to be there in YouTube. Or add. Okay, but a list iterator. For any new videos, I'll be putting them on the folder. The main thing to consider when you're using list iterators, so when you're using YouTube forever, they won't be in the same while loop. Be careful that you don't end up with in 1,000 years' time, there'll be archaeologists. Careful that you don't end up with an infinite loop. Now, talking away about Java. Sounds like hell, doesn't it? That's fine. Okay. So. That's the file. Now, so we were doing hash maps. Let's do that. And hash maps are made up of two parts: a key and a value. Now, the key has to be unique. The value doesn't have to be unique. Okay, so this is creating a map and a hash map. Hash map is you can't guarantee order. Okay, just like when you have a hash set, you can't guarantee order. Okay, the other type we're going to do is a linked hash map. The order is whatever you put them in as. Okay, a linked set was a set that they're going to display in the order they're in. Now, a linked hash map is they're going to be there in the order you put them in. The last type then is a tree map. Tree map is they're going to be ordered by some mechanism. Okay, so you could order by age, name, or whatever. Okay, now, so how you put values into a hash map is you go put. Okay, so salary dot put null 120,000.0 to double. Salary dot put Mary 80,000. So null is the key, 120,000 is the value. Mary is the key, 80,000 is the value. You print them all out, they'll all print out. Okay, Mary 80,000, Noel 120,000. Okay, now put itself, when you say salary dot put Sheila 90,000. Okay, what put does, it put returns the value for Sheila. Now, if it's a new value you're putting in, it's going to return null. Okay, if you're putting in right, so here then I used put to put in an so for Sheila, and I'm putting in a new value for Sheila. Now, what put does in this situation is the following. Okay, so Sheila has a value of 90,000. Yes? Okay. So if I go salary dot put Sheila 100,000, it will display 90,000. Yes? Yeah? Now, so it displays, how do you come back? It displays 90,000. Okay? But when I use put here, what it actually does is it changes the value of 90,000 to 100,000. Okay? So that comment I put in there was wrong. All right? Now, what do I mean by that? If I print off the salaries in the next line, salary, notice Sheila, and I print off the salary. Here. See, Sheila is at 100,000. Okay? So what put does, so duplicate keys is not allowed. All right? However, if you put in Sheila and you put in a new value, it's going to change the value for Sheila. You understand that? But what put also does, and this is a small bit confusing in that situation, is it'll get the previous value for Sheila. Okay, so this will display 90,000. Okay, as this was value for the key Sheila. Okay, however, this put will change value for the key Sheila. Okay, so now we see on the next line that the value for Sheila is now 100,000. Okay, so if you want to change if you want to change a value, okay, how you do that is put. Okay, now you can also use replace. Okay, replace does exactly the same thing. So if I go down here, I'm going to change Sheila again. So let's say I go, yeah. Oh yeah, so all right, so now I can understand your change to 100,000, but it's just that, as you say, he also returns the last value. Okay, so I put in the values for, so Noel is 100,000, Mary is 80,000. Then I print them all out. So I can print off Noel 80,000 Mary, whatever. It's printed in some. Yeah. So then I put in Sheila. Okay. So Sheila now has a value of 90,000. Okay. Now, but however, notice when I put this in the print statement. Okay. So what put does, it prints off the existing value for Sheila. If it has no existing value, if it doesn't exist, it's going to print off null. Prints off null. Okay. So, and now if I go to print off salary, which I will, up here. So we have salary is Mary is 80,000, Sheila is 90,000, Noel is 120,000. Okay, fine. Now, the next line, what I do is I go salary dot put Sheila 100,000. Okay, now what that does, this will display the existing value for Sheila, which is 90,000. You have there. Okay, it displays the existing value for Sheila, which is 90,000. Then it changes the value for Sheila to 100,000. Okay, then it changes the value for Sheila to 100,000. To prove that it is changed, I print it off. Salary note is Sheila, Mary's 80,000, Sheila's 100,000, Nola's 120,000. So if you want to change a value, you can. It's very easy. You just use put. Now, remove does the exact same thing. Or replace, sorry. Okay, so replace does the same thing, just to show you. So if I go to replace here, now I'll just replace turbine, just a second, I don't know turbines. Okay. So if I go replace our salary, dot replace, and it's replace. So what do I replace? I'm going to replace Sheila's value. I'm going to reduce her pay to 25,000. And we print it out again. You should see that Sheila's salary is now 25,000. Okay, it didn't work that way. Hold on, what's wrong there? Oh yeah, wrong way around. Now, there, Sheila is now 25,000. Okay, so replace and put does the same thing. Okay. No, it doesn't. It gives you a boolean. Okay, so all replace gives you. So I'll just put it in the print statement. I'll put this in here. So we'll go up here. So salary notice Sheila. It actually does, Kieran. Okay, I didn't know that. Alright, so it does show the previous value. It does. I thought it was a boolean return. It doesn't. Okay, so it also displays the previous value. I didn't know that. Ah? Yeah, It's alright. I was going to say there isn't, but yeah, they're a bit fucked up. That's the simple way. So, now, so replace and put. Put can be used to put in brand new key value pairs. Put can also be used to modify existing key value pairs. Okay. Now, when I mean modify, I mean changing a value. Okay. Can't modify a key, by the way. Right? It wouldn't make sense to be able to modify a key. You can modify the value, but you can't modify the key. What you have to do from that situation is you have to remove the key first, and then you assign a new key to the value. That's what you have to do. Okay? Now, I'm going along. All right? So, duplicate keys are not allowed. Okay? You can't have two keys. So, if you try to put in the same key, all that happens is you overwrite the value. Yes? So, we can't have two Sheilas. Okay? So I put it in here. You can't have two Sheila keys. What happens is that the values for Sheila gets overwritten. Okay? She essentially gets a new value. All right? Now, you can put in as many duplicate values as you want. Okay, there's nothing stopping you. You can put in salary, put Tom 100,000, salary, put Laura 100,000, and we can see that Laura and Tom both have 100,000. Yes? Okay, there's nothing too difficult there. Now, hash maps are not in any particular order. If you want to get a particular value, you can use get in conjunction with the key. All right? So in this case, to get the name, we use the name to get the wages. So salary dot get Sheila will get the wages of Sheila, which is 25,000. Salary dot get Noel, so the wages of me are 120,000. Okay, if you try to get something that's not there, so let's say a number, so you can't go by positions in a hash map. Why? Because there is no positions in a hash map, really, because they could be all over the place. You don't know in what position Sheila is going to be in. You don't know in what position Noel is going to be in. Okay? So that's why get one doesn't work. Now, it's not going to give you any sort of class cat exception. It's just going to return null. If you're searching for now a string, so the map is made up of string and doubles. You search for a string that's not there, you also get null. Okay? Now, you can have null as a key, but you can only have one of them. Okay? So you can have null as a key, but you can only have one of them. So that guy will be added, 3, 4, 5. What happens here in this situation is, scroll down the screen, is if I had this in a print statement, 3, 4, 5 would be displayed, but it'll replace the value for this guy with 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we can see we printed off its wages are null, which is the key value is 234.0. Okay, now you can have as many null values as you want. There's no issue with that at all. Okay, you can put in as many null values as you want. All right, now do one other command to do with put. Okay, Now, at the end of this whole section as well, there's a couple of commands in the collection interface, and there's a couple of, a couple of methods in the collection interface, and a couple of methods in the map interface that we haven't covered. So remind me to do that, because I haven't got the lessons out here. But I know there's a couple of ones that are missing. We'll do them at the end of this, and I won't be till next Tuesday or Wednesday before we'll be doing that. Right, now, so the next one is put if absent. Okay. So I'm going to change Kevin's value, and I'm going to change Mick's value. Yeah. So I'm going to go salary dot put Kevin. Oh, it's fucking compute. Fuck off. I'm going to give him wages of 150,000. And I'm going to, the wages for Mick are going to be, Jesus Christ, fucking doing that. Wages for Mick are going to be 75,000. Right, now, so what put if absent does is the following. So let's say I am going to go salary dot put if absent. Okay, now what that means is if this key does not exist, it'll put it into the map. All right. If this key does exist, don't put in this value. Okay, so if this key exists, does not exist, put in the key and the value. If this key does not exist, sorry, that's wrong again. Say it again. So if this key does not exist, put in the key and the value into this map. If this key does exist, don't change the value of the existing key. Okay, so what I mean by that is I go Mick. I'm going to try and change Mick's value to just 100. Okay, now that will not be input. Okay, that will not be input. Why? Because Mick already exists. So Mick's value will not be changed. Okay, if I do it for another one, a brand new one, salary dot put if absent. I'm going to put in a brand new one. It's going to be Porrick. Porrick has a value of 50,000. Now, Porrick will be input because he's brand new. The key is new. Okay? And to prove that it is, so I print off the salary. Now, so Mick's salary is still 75,000. Okay? It hasn't changed. We have a new entry, a new key, which is Porrick, who has a double of 50,000. To show you. So there we have Kevin, Tom. Now you see Mick, it hasn't changed. Okay, we can see that Porrick is added. All right. So I'm going to put this in here. Put if absent. Will not change values if the key already exists in the map. Here, the key mic already exists. So it will not, so the value will not be changed to 100. Okay, so this one here, Porrick, the key Porrick does not currently exist in the map, so this will be added to the map. That's it. Okay, so if something doesn't exist, it'll input. If the key doesn't exist, if the key does exist, the value won't be changed. Okay, which is different from put. Put will change the value if the key already exists. Okay, so just to show you here, if I go so this, what this does as well, by the way, this will return the current value that mic has. Okay, this will also return current value for the key mic, which is 75,000. Okay, so that'll return 75,000 and it won't change the value to 100. That will return null because it doesn't have a previous value, and it'll input that into Porrick and the value 50,000 to the map. Okay, so you see the difference between put and put if absent. Put will change an existing value. Put if absent won't change an existing value. Okay, so you can, and also put if absent will also return to the current value as well. Okay, so if you're not too sure how would you use this, so you're inputting values and you're thinking, Jesus, did I put in that lead into the database? All right, all you have to do is put if absent. That'll, if it's already there, it won't put it in. Okay, so put if absent, it's just a put with modifications. That's all a put is. Okay, right, now, so now we're going to start creating a few more complex maps. So I think we'll create another one, static void ex12. Right, so I want us to go to the, we should have a fireman class there somewhere. So we're going to go to the fireman class, which I think is in my, where is it? So it's in my com.android.humans. There he is, fireman. Now it's going to be very simple class. He's going to have a name, have an ID. He's going to have a static int counter equals 0. and make these private. It's going to have a simple constructor. So it's just going to take a string name, anything else. Geez, that half hour doesn't mind been going, does it? So, no, statics aren't given a value. Okay, so I'm going to go this dot name is equal to name, and I go counter plus plus, and ID is equal to counter. And I'm going to put in a simple toString method. Public string toString and I go return fireman name is name, ID is plus ID. Now the way that class is constructed is that every fireman that's created is going to be unique. You understand that? So the first fireman is going to have an ID of 1. The second, it's a simple enough way to make sure every object you create is going to be unique. All right. Now, I'm not going to override the equals method or anything like that. We are going to do that for subsequent classes. So we're just building things up. All right. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create a hash map. Okay. Now, we're going to do a hash map. So this is a hash map of firemen. Now, we are going to go map integer firemen. I'm going to call it firemin. Is equal to new. Now I have to import firemen. New hash map. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a number is going to represent a fireman. Yes? Yeah? Right. So a number is going to represent a fireman. So I am going to go now. I'm going to use a loop to assign values to the integer. So it's simple enough. Now I could also use the fireman's ID as the integer as well if I wanted to. I could do that because each fireman has got a unique ID, but I want to keep them separate. So I'm going to go for int I is equal to 0. I want to do 5. Do you notice as well, by the way, as we're doing in Java too, we're using very little loops. Have you noticed that? The more complex your programming becomes, the less you start using things like loops and if statements and switch statements and all the rest. All right. So I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. So we go fireman dot put. We're going to put in. Now I want it to start at 1. Okay, and I want to put in 5 of them. So it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So what's going to be the key? The key is going to be I, and we're going to create new fireman. Yeah, fucking hell, it keeps. Also, as well, I have to put in the constructor. I have to put in the second constructor here because I don't want to be putting in names each time. It's a pain in the arse. Public fireman. All I'm going to put in is counter plus plus ID is equal to counter. So here we go. I new fireman. Okay. Now we have our array, our hash map of firemen created. Our first fireman is going to be identified by the key 1. Our second fireman is going to be identified by the key 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Yep. You need to have 2 constructors. You need to have. I have a constructor that takes a string. I'll be using that for the next map. So this is blank constructor. This is a constructor that takes a string. Okay. This is used to give firemen an ID. Okay. So it starts off at 0. Counter plus plus becomes 1. Okay. Now, so to show that this is worked out, I just print off fireman. Firemin. And I run this from main. So static void ex12. Examples at ex12. There we are. One fireman name is null. Now, I haven't given the fireman a name. Okay. So how would you operate that in real life? Well, how you'd operate that in real life is you're going to be pulling the names from the database. All right. You would have your, now it's done through iterators, by the way, going through records in a database. Now, or you could have them pulled from the database and you could have them in another set or whatever. All right. So what you'll be doing is inside the constructor here, you go new fireman. The ID would also be I, and its name would be pulled from the database. Okay. You create, it's a database object, and basically you put in the name of the database object dot next. That's the way databases work. Okay. So if we were to create firemen, getting the names from a database, that's how you do it. Okay. Or you could have them saved on a file. All right. So here you have a hash map of firemen. Okay. And how many firemen do you have? We have firemen dot size firemen. Okay, we have 5 firemen. And it operates the exact same way. If we want to get the second fireman, I say fireman dot get second fireman. 2. If I want to change fireman. I want to change the name of the second fireman to Sam. So I say fireman dot put for the second fireman. I'm going to change the fireman. Okay, so I'm going to change it to fuck it. Got it. Okay. So here we go again. Another one. So we'll start it again. Zoom US. Screen share only. Open Zoom meetings. Screen 2. Share. So I go here, invite. Gmail. And there we are. So give it 20-30 seconds. So have a check there now. It should be okay. Should have it by now. Okay, so the email has arrived. So accept what I sent there. Now, so pin. So here we can get the second fireman. You can see the second fireman is this lad. So what I can do now, I can change the fireman. If I wanted to, I could change the name of that fireman if we had a set method inside it, we don't. What I want to do though is I want to change that 2 is going to refer to a brand new fireman with a different ID, and he's going to have a name. Okay, so fireman.put, I'm going to go new fireman, and he has a name. All right, so that means we now have a new fireman for key 2, and he has the name of Sam. And also to prove that he's a different fireman, we can see previously that this fireman had an ID of 2. All right, have a look at it now. If I go fireman dot get 2, you can see there's a brand new fireman. Farmer name is Sam, ID is 6. Now that's the ID of the farmer, which is different to the key. Do you understand that? The key is 2, and the key refers to Sam the fireman with an ID of 2. Okay, so we have changed. To even prove it out, I print off all the firemen. One, fireman name is null. Two, fireman name is Sam. ID is 6. Okay. No. Any questions on that? Nope. No. So we're going to create another hash map. Right? Now, this is going to be for a payroll of firemen. Okay? So we're going to have a hash map. So just say what happens here. ID, so the key 2 refers now to a new fireman called Sam with an ID of 6. All right. Now I'm going to create a new hash map down here. So this is going to be map. Now this is going to be a hash map that has a fireman and a double. So in the previous version we did something with a string and a double. Here we're going to have as identifier an actual fireman. Now that really wouldn't be a good idea. Usually it's going to be some identifying string. Okay, but here we have an actual object that we're going to use as the key. All right, as opposed to a string or an integer. An integer is the easiest identifier. Okay, so here we have, so this is a map with a fireman key and a double value. Okay, so I am going to call this, yeah. No, because this is a map of integers and firemen. Okay, so this is a map of with a integer key, a fireman value. Okay, so this one here, so you have to put in an integer and a fireman. It's not an integer and a string. Okay, this one here is a fireman and a double. So you're going to have to be when you're putting something in it, something brand new, you put in a fireman and a double number. So these are going to be payroll. Okay, is equal to new hash map. Well, if you wanted to just change his name, you'd have to go fireman.get to, and you'd have to have a set method in fireman class. Yeah, so that's a brand new fireman. If you want to change the name of the fireman, you'd have to go fireman.get to set name. Okay, show you what I mean by that. So fireman2.get to toString. That's going to call the toString method for fireman with ID 2. Okay, so what will that do? This will call the toString method for the fireman with a key of 2. Alright, so fireman.get2, that is an individual fireman. Okay, so that guy can call all of the methods of the fireman class. The only public method of the fireman class is toString. Okay? Now, so I'm going to create a fireman. And I'm going to call him Bruce. And it's going to be equal to new fireman. And it just takes Bruce. Right? Now, so I'm going to add a couple of firemen to this, and we're going to see what happens. Okay? Now, so I'm going to go payroll dot put, and I'm going to say new fireman. For fuck's sake. So I'm going to say new fireman, and I'm going to say that's a new fireman with no values, and I'm going to put in 34.0. Okay, everyone with me so far, yeah? Right. Now, I'm going to put in Bruce. Put fireman Bruce. Jesus Christ. I'm going to put in Bruce. And I'm going to put in his wages as 50,000. I'm going to put in a new fireman. So I'm going to put in new fireman. This is going to be a fireman called Mary. Mary gets paid 75,000. And I'm going to try and put in Bruce again. I'm putting in Bruce again. And put in 100,000 for Bruce again. And finally, I'm going to go payroll dot put if absent. Mary. And I'm going to try and put in a new value for Mary, 250,000. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Sorry. I'm going to try and put in Bruce again. Okay, now, so I'll go through each one of these, explain what's happening. So we have to know what is put in. Okay, so I create a fireman Bruce, which is the new fireman Bruce. Okay, now first one puts in a fireman with the wages 34,000. That'll go in, no problem. Okay, next one puts in Bruce, 50,000. Whole lot will go in. Grant, fine. Okay, next one, new fireman Mary, 75,000. Yep, that'll go in. Okay, now by the way, that will have a, so that fireman is going to have an ID of 7. Bruce, no, sorry, Bruce is going to have an ID of 7. The next fireman is going to have an ID of 8. Mary is going to have an ID of 9. Okay, because the last fireman created here had an ID of 6, and increments by 1 each time. All right, so the new fireman, he has a name of Null, he has an ID of 7, and his wages are 34,000. Okay, I put in the fireman Bruce. Bruce has, sorry, it's new fireman that has, this guy here has an ID of 7. Bruce has an ID of 7, new fireman has an ID of 8. Bruce goes in, Bruce has an ID of 7, he has wages of 50,000. Okay, new fireman Mary, Mary is going to have, the fireman is going to have an ID of 8, she's going to have wages of 75,000. Okay, now payroll.put Bruce 100,000. What that does is that modifies the value of Bruce. So Bruce now has wages of 100,000. Yes? Doesn't put in two Bruces. It changes the existing value of Bruce. Okay? The next one, put if absent, Bruce 250,000. It'll only put in that value. It'll only put in that value if Bruce does not exist. Bruce does exist. So 250,000 is not put in. So everything is put in there with the exception of the last guy. Okay, now 50,000 for Bruce was initially put in, but I came along and did payroll.put Bruce 100,000. So if you don't want values to be changed, use put if absent. It's as simple as that. Okay, if you do want values to be changed, use put. Okay, now to prove, so what we should end up with there is we should have a fireman with the name of Null and 34,000. We should have a fireman called Bruce. Now we have to check. Bruce had 50,000. We changed it to 100,000. It wasn't changed to 150,000. So Bruce will have wages of 100,000. Then we have Mary. She has wages of 75,000. Now that's what should be displayed. So we'll have a look. So payroll. Yeah, so Mary ID is 9. Payment is 75,000. Grant. Fireman name is Null. ID is 8. And the wages is 34,000. Correct. Fireman name is Bruce. ID is 7. And his wages is 100,000. Okay? Everyone with me so far? Yes? So what we're doing here is we're using the fireman as a key. All right? Now, what is it that, so remember that all keys have to be unique. Okay? Now, and all keys are going to be an object, by the way. So, what is it that determines? So it doesn't do this by magic. All right? It doesn't do this by magic. So it doesn't allow duplicate entries. So what is it that determines, that tells Java that each of the firemen is unique? Hash code. Hash code and equals method. Okay? So what is it that tells, so it's the exact same as the hash set. Okay, remember the hash set, you can't have duplicates, or sets, you can't have duplicate entries. How does know something is duplicate? It's using the equals and the hash code method. Okay, so what's happening here is that fireman, this map, you're only allowed to put in unique fireman. What is it going to do? It's going to use the equals method, equals and the hash code method from the object class. Every fireman is different. No, it actually isn't in the toString. No. So that part is the toString. Okay. But when you print out a hash map, what it does is it'll print off whatever that guy is, followed by a equals, followed by whatever that is. Yeah. So fireman has its own toString method. That's it. Double has a toString method that just prints off the value. So it's going to be whatever the toString method is for fireman with an equals method or an equals sign next, followed by whatever that is, and it's a double. That's grand. Now, by the way, these maps can be, you can have, let's say, a person, a farmer, and an array or a list of cattle. Okay, so these maps, a key can be any object, value can be any object. Okay, so you can have something like this. Now, let me just see, what animals do I have? Now, I'm not going to do out a big complicated example of this. I'm just showing you what you can have. Okay, so we're going to say, have a look at the human class. That's fine. So you can have a map that is a human as a key. And if we have a look at, let's say, dogs. So I do have a blank dog. So you can do that right. How do I do that now? Give me a second here. I'm trying to think. Okay, it can't be a list. So what you can say, no, how do I do a map of an array list? Shit. Just have array list dog. Hold on a second now. Yeah, so just see, does this work? Yeah, right. So what I have there, that's a map, and a human has a value of a list of dogs. All right. So you can have one human, can have many dogs. And by the way, that can be a list, that can be a map, that can be a set. Okay. So one human can have a set of dogs. So your map will consist of a human and multiple dogs. All right. And you can have it the other way around as well. So you can have something like this. Map, set, animal, human. And that is this maps. Okay. Now, the first one makes sense. The second one doesn't really make sense. It's using a set to unique, so it has to be a unique set, but it can be a different human. This one here, it has to be a unique human, but it can be different amounts of sets. Okay, so either type, either a key or a value, can be any object. And in there, a key or a value can be any object, including a set, map. Now you could even have a map inside a map. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. You could even have something like this. I could have a map that's made up of a human and a set that's going, or not a set, but a map that's made up of a string, the double, and I call this map apps. Okay, we will be using these when we come to streams. Okay, so a map, a key or a value can be any object, including a set and a map. So this one here is a human, and this is a human, and a set of dogs. This is a set of animals and a human value. This one here is, this is a human key and a map string double value. Okay, is that okay, everyone? You can have a key and an array. You can have a key and an array. That is numerous values. But you can't put in, let's say, human, human, animal. No. Um, well, then, but then you have it as an array of whatever those objects are. So yeah, you can, because that's what you have there. You have a human and a set of dogs. You can also have a human. So map human and create a set of animals. Okay, so that's map human animals. So there we have it. Okay. But, yeah. Now you can do all sorts of funky shit with the value, by the way, as well. Okay. You can do all sorts of. Hello. I was thinking that. Yeah.
Finnegan, contact reception. John Finnegan, contact reception, please. Thank you.
All right. So here we have a map that's got a set this has got a human key and a set of animal value. Now, remember the wildcards, you can put in wildcards there as well. Okay, so you can have question mark extends animal, or you can have question mark super dog. So it can be a dog, and it can be, so you can do some shit like this. I think human. So I go set, go question mark super dog. So I call this funky map. Okay, now that is a map that's got a human key and a set that can be a dog or a superclass of dog, not a subclass of dog. Okay, so to answer your question, Kieran, with all these sort of things, you basically can have a set of anything really. It's only two parameters. Yeah. So only so. Yeah, but all you do then is you create an object from all the other fields. As simple as that. Okay. So this is a map of human keys and a set value of objects that are dogs or superclasses of dogs. Okay. So I know that throws people off a bit when they see that. All right. They just think super means superclass of dog. Okay. Now, so the values or the keys have to be unique. Okay. And what determines if something is unique? It's the hash code. So nearly out of time again. So it's the same as the hash set. Okay, but it only in the hash set, the whatever you're putting in has to be unique. All right. With the hash map, it's just the value that has to be unique. Okay, so the same rule you have for hash sets is the same rule for values in a hash map. Okay, so the rules in a set is you use the equals in the hash code method to determine if something is already in your set. With a map, the value has to be unique. So you use the equals in the hash code to determine if the value already exists in the map. Okay? Yeah, key. Okay? Okay, so the key has to, and what determines if a key is unique? It's the hash code and the equals method. Okay? Now, so, put that in there. What determines if a key is unique is the equals and the hash code. So yes, there's a lot of stuff in Java too. It's all connected. Right? If you can start seeing these connections, it becomes easier, believe it or not. Alright? So nothing exists in isolation in this at all. Everything is linked up to everything else. That can make it more difficult, but can actually make it more easier to learn. Alright? So hash map and hash set don't share an awful lot. For a start anyway, they're different. Hash set extends collection. Hash map does not extend collection. But how they determine if a value is the same is exactly the same method as how they determine if an object in the set is the same. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we are going to go to the nurse class. So here. So I am just going to have, in the nurse class, I'm just going to have the name. And I am going to have a constructor, make it public. And if I call this dot name, the name. Now I'm going to create a very simple equals and hash code just from the name. So I'll go to source, generate hash code in equals, generate. Okay, so the hash code and the equals method, they're going to generate the same hash code if they have the same name. Okay, so here, so we'll have same hash code if two nurses have the same name. Okay, and so if it's same object, return true. If the object you send to the equals method is not a nurse, it's going to return false. Okay, so if it is a nurse, that means this is an object reference to a nurse object, so we cast it to be a nurse. So nurse other is going to be the nurse that was sent to the method. So if the name of the nurse is null, and if the name of the other nurse is not null, return false. Okay, otherwise, if the two names are not the same, return false. Now, if the names are not the same, sorry, if the names are not the same, Jesus Christ, that's actually what it's saying there. Okay, so if the names are not the same, it's going to return false. If that is not true, then they have to be the same. Okay, so all that means is two nurses with the same name can't be used as values. All right, only one of those nurses will be input as a value. So what to do about that? So we're going to go back here, and we're going to say here in the nurse class we have overridden equals and the hash code, such that if two nurses have the same name, they will have same hash code, be return true when equals is run against both. Now I am going to create a nurse nurse 1 is equal to new nurse, and this is going to be, we're going to give her a name of Helen. Import nurse. Now I'm going to create nurse 2. And this is going to be called Mary. And the last one is going to be called and have the name Helen. Now, I am going to create a hash map. Okay, so it's a hash map that's going to have as the value a nurse, a key, the nurse, and again it's going to be a double, going to represent wages. Okay, and I'm going to call this quite simply nurses is equal to new hash map. Okay, so what is this? This is a hash map with a nurse key, which means each nurse has to be unique and will be determined that it is unique by the equals and the hash code method in the nurse class. It has a double value. Okay, now, so let's just give me an error here. Just give me a second. Save this. Right. So I go map nurse double nurse is equal to new hash map. All right. So I'm going to try and put in nurses dot put. I'm gonna put in nurse one. For fuck's sake. Jeez, that's really annoying. So that is. All right. So this won't take 20 seconds to do. Okay, so more invite Gmail. So it'll only be do another 10 minutes, I know. So I've sent that email to you, it should be there. And taking a while to come on through this time, isn't it? Okay, there now. Right, so join it there quickly. When you do another 10 minutes, and I even less because you have to finish off doing your wages. Now, those are entitled to it, get a double payment next week. Okay, I know there's something about you have to be a set amount of time before you get it. It's 18 months, I don't know. Anyway, is it? Anyway, so I try to add, so now this only applies when you're this object here, okay? Now, would you use a nurse to identify something? A nurse, so you have a map of nurses and patients. Yeah. You could have a map of doctors and patients. You could have a map of teachers and students, me and ye. Okay, so yeah, you could, but usually you're going to have some unique identifying number or a string or something like that. All right, so more often than not, it's going to be a map that's going to consist of a string and an object. All right, something uniquely identifying, or it could be a application that generates a random number, something like that. Okay, here we have, so we're trying to put in nurse 1. She's going to have a value of 25,000. I'm going to try and put in nurse 2. And nurse 2 gets paid more. She gets paid 56,000. And finally, I'm going to try and put in nurse 3. Now, nurse 3 is the same name as nurse 1. They're not the same object. Okay, not the same object, but they have the same name. And we've said in the equals and hash code method that if they have the same name, we're going to say they have the same hash code, they're also going to be equals to each other. So it shouldn't put in nurse 3. So I'm going to put in a value of 100,000. Now, so just to quickly check, we'll see, did all the things go in? So I just go on nurses.size. We've only got 2 nurses in it. Okay, and what are the 2 nurses? 2 nurses are right. I haven't got a toString method inside the nurse class, so I'll just quickly create a toString method. Source generate string name brand. So nurse name. So I'll put it in here. And we can see nurse name is Mary, 56,000. Nurse 3, Helen is equal to 100,000. All right, so question. This is going to be the last thing we're going to do today. Why is Helen's wages 100,000? I put in 25,000 for nurse 1, which is 25,000. Then I put in for nurse 3 100,000. Why is 100,000 there instead of 25,000? Okay, because what happens is it puts in nurse 1. Okay, so it puts in nurse 1. Now, nurse 1, all it identifies, so the only method it has of identifying the nurse is by the name. Okay, so when I put in nurse 1, all it sees is the word Mary. Nothing else. Okay, doesn't see anything else. So, sorry, not Mary, it's Helen. All right, sees Helen. So it sees the nurse Helen. Then next one puts it in Mary. That's fine. So for here, for the third one, it says, right, we already have a Helen. Okay, so what does it do? It modifies the value for Helen to 100,000. Okay, so all it does is it just sees a nurse called Helen. Doesn't put in Helen, by the way. Doesn't change. If this is a different Helen, it doesn't. It's still the same nurse. Okay, so this nurse here is still the first nurse. Okay, it's still the first nurse. It doesn't change the first nurse. It doesn't change the first nurse. Okay, but it'll change the value. Is that okay? That's us finished for now. We will have this finished by Wednesday. Okay, so it'll be this section finished by Wednesday. Thursday and Friday. Then we're not going to be doing anything Monday of next off. So we're finished Monday week. Now the Monday we come in here. I'll be going in and out the door like a blue arse fly. See when we can leave. Right. Hopefully we'll be gone out of here by 10 o'clock Monday. That's usually what happens. I said that on the video. Shouldn't have said that on the video. Shouldn't have. That was a lie. I was joking. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Huh? You cannot take any more, Captain. Yeah. Are you doing? Do you want to go next Friday night or something? Or? Yeah, yeah. I'm all for that. But just town will be jammers, next Friday. It'll be jammers during the day as well, because everyone's getting off. Huh? Whatever time you determine what time we want to go in, and we'll go in. Huh? 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, geez, yeah. A good start. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's fine by me. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, I'll do as well. I couldn't give a straw. So I will stop this video here now. So I'll stop it. And I'll upload that.